it's Em, and we're here today to talk about Starshipped by Cat Sebastian. Now, I have heard of Cat Sebastian. I had never read anything by her. I think she's best known for historical fiction that is, queer, mostly male, I think, if I'm understanding correctly. This is her first contemporary gay romance. It is the story of two actors, Simon and Charlie, and they have worked together for 7 years on a Star Trek-ish TV series called Out There. And Simon plays the straight-laced doctor character, and Charlie plays the hunky, would-be Kirk sort. Not the captain necessarily, but the playboy-ish, adventurous guy. Charlie is, I want to say they said he was 27 or 28, and Simon is 34, so there's a little bit of an age gap there. Anyway, it starts out with the fact, this is all from Simon's point of view, by the way. It starts out with the fact that Simon really hates Charlie. He thinks Charlie's kind of an idiot and unprofessional, and he just, Charlie gets on his nerves. Charlie, if you have any kind of media literacy as you're reading even the first few chapters, you can kind of tell Charlie likes Simon, likes him. And okay, so we've got this would-be enemies to lovers, maybe, since this is all from Simon's point of view, but that doesn't last very long. Simon is planning to leave the show at the end of this season, and they are wrapping the season. He wants to go to New York to do some Shakespeare on stage. He wants to do, something serious, a little change of scene. 7 years on a show, even if it's a cult classic hit thing, is a lot. So Simon plans to leave the series and go to New York and be a serious actor. But I can't remember the situation exactly that causes him and Charlie to decide they need to be seen in public as friendly, they need to rehab their public image for some not terribly clear reason. Maybe it just needs to be, I think maybe it's just that they don't want people to think Simon left the show because of Charlie, because it's already pretty well known that both Simon and Charlie have had histories of being difficult. And even though they've gotten better, the stories keep coming up, in the tabloids and whatnot. Charlie famously threw a fit on set. Simon famously flounced at one point from something. So they decide they're gonna go out, be seen having lunch together, things like this, to kind of give people the idea that no, they like each other. There's no animosity. Then Charlie is worried about his stepdad, who hasn't responded to texts in a week, and he's decided he's gonna drive to Arizona to see what's going on. And Simon, decides to go with him, I guess, again, because they need to continue this, it's not quite fake dating, but it's fake dating adjacent, right? And it goes from there. We get pretty quickly to them falling into bed together. And then the rest of the book is Simon agonizing over this relationship. Are we just friends with benefits? Is this, just a physical thing? Is this just for now? How long lasting will this be? Whatever. We get so much of Simon's mental gymnastics because it's all from his point of view. And Simon has anxiety. Simon has OCD. Simon gets migraines. He has issues. And I am all for rep. I have people in my family with anxiety. I have people in my family with OCD. So I know what it's like to live with that, deal with that. This was, though, exhausting, particularly because by a third of the way in, they're together, more or less, and the rest of the book is them negotiating their relationship and no plot. There's like no other conflict except Simon's internal struggles, trying to figure out whether he and Charlie are a thing or not, and how much of a thing they are or aren't. And the rest of it is just nothing. There's like, okay, so spoilers. If you plan to read this, stop now, because I am going to spoil some things. They find the stepdad. He just had forgotten his charger. He'd gone to a car show, forgotten to take his phone charger. Simon reams him out for, whatever. And after that, the stepdad is better about staying in touch with Charlie. The play Simon's going to do falls through, but he still goes to New York to the upfronts, and then Charlie joins him there, and they go to the upfronts together, and they go to Simon's niece's graduation party together, because Simon is originally from, like, Connecticut or something, or maybe upstate New York, I don't know, doesn't matter. And Simon agrees to do at least one more half season of Out There because he wants to go out on a good note and have a chance to kind of close his character's storyline, I guess. And he and Charlie are, buddies. And then there's like Simon's ex-boyfriend, Jamie, who they're still really good friends. They just weren't compatible, but it's amicable. He's mixed in. There's a lot about Simon's dog. He's got this dachshund. Okay, and Charlie keeps trying to convince Simon that the dog is an emotional support dog. He's like, you're happier when you have her with you. I mean, yes, you want the people in your life to understand and provide you kind of a safe space, but it just, again, it got repetitive. It got tiring to read about. It needed more plot. If we were going to have all this, it needed more plot structure to kind of buoy it. Because overall, it was just boring. It was just, once they hooked up, it was just boring from there on out. There just wasn't enough more interesting things happening. And look, I've worked in the entertainment industry, so I love books set in that world. I didn't love this. Also, okay, so Simon had first worked on a fantasy series called Tree of the Gods or something like that. Sounds like it might have been vaguely a Game of Thronesy thing. He and Charlie have been hooking up for a couple of months before Simon realizes the tattoo on Charlie's thigh is the dragon from Tree of Gods. Like, that seems really unlikely, particularly for somebody as detail-oriented as Simon is. I don't know, that beggared belief for me. There were a couple of things where I was like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. I don't know. I was disappointed. When I started out, I was really enjoying it. I thought this was going to be a 3, maybe even a 4-star book. By the end of it, it was like a 2.3. I think I only gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. I just could not quite give it 3 because the last 60 or 70% just drags because I don't care. How many times do you have to tell me Simon has to have all the handles of the cups in the cabinet turned a certain way or whatever? Like, I get it. Stop hammering it home. Give me some kind of plot to go around all this just character. I am a character writer and a character reader. I love that stuff, but this was just plot. Now, I did enjoy sometimes the little message boards. I've seen this in a lot of books relatively recently, where if it's something fan-based, there's a show or something that's got fans, then the author will include messages from message boards, fans Oh my God, did you see the photo of them on Instagram? They were together at the restaurant, whatever. That stuff was pretty fun and funny. It reminded me a little bit of when I was writing the BBC Sherlock fic, A Game of Hearts, because I got a lot of messages saying, yeah, in my mind, these stories are the actual series, not what came after season 1. Because I wrote those stories between seasons 1 and 2. And if you watched Sherlock, you know how it went. And so, yeah, a lot of people came back to me and went, yeah, I think your stories are the real series. And that's very flattering. And I appreciate that. I mean, I liked that little bit. But, you know, I don't know. There were a lot of little things like the niece and her graduation, like Simon not really liking his agent and people keep telling him he should get a new agent. And he finally gets around to getting a new agent. I mean, the ultimate goal of this book is to show that Charlie makes Simon a better person. Simon kind of makes Charlie a better, you know, when two people come together in a good way, they make each other better, right? That is the ultimate bottom line to this book, but it didn't need to be 366 pages to tell me that because there's no other story. Also, Simon's a shopaholic, and that's kind of irritating. I don't know, the consumerism, like his stress shopping is just, I don't know, it's a turnoff for me in this day and age, these billionaires and whatnot. So yeah, I didn't particularly like that facet either. I could understand Simon feels kind of like an outsider in his own family, even though he loves his family and he knows they love him and they've never been unkind to him or whatever about how he is. Although his brothers are there's a big age gap between him and his brothers. He was the oopsie baby. And so he used to have to sneak down to watch TV in secret while the rest of the family was watching TV, and he'd get caught and sent back to his room and stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess that's an issue for him. Yeah, I was disappointed. I don't know if the historical stuff she writes is better. Does it have plot? Has anybody read it? Let me know. I started out well, and then it just dragged on and on with nothing really interesting happening. But yeah, that is Starshipped by Cat Sebastian. If you've read it, let me know your thoughts. If you've read any of her other books, let me know if they're any good. And right now I'm reading The Dry by Jane Harper, I think her name is. I took a quiz, and it gave me a color. I don't even remember what color reader I am. It was like, oh, if you're a red reader, if you're an orange reader, you're a blue reader. I don't remember what color reader I'm supposed to be, but every time they send an email that lists books for different readers, I read all the blurbs because I can't remember what color I am, but I can kind of guess based on the ones they suggest for the different colored readers. I don't know. And The Dry was on that list. So I picked it up because it sounded interesting, and I'm 40, maybe 50 pages in. And yeah, so far I really like it actually. So that was a good find. I don't know. It's from 2016. I think the author's Australian. It's set in Australia. So it's something a little different. But yeah, that's what I'm reading now. And yeah. Until next time, take care.